despite the government's 100% transition policy that seeks to ensure all learners acquire basic education, a good number of them drop out of secondary school and some do not make it to the schools. According to the most recent economic survey report of 2022, the primary to secondary school transition rate has declined from 91% in 2020 to 78.5%. Sharon Baranga reports.
Basic education in Kenya was made mandatory in 2018. The idea behind it was that every learner would acquire basic education, which resulted to the introduction of free day secondary schools. But over the years, the gains the government has been making on this front has been gradually declining. Recently, education seers expressed concern over the low Form 1 admissions.
According to the most recent economic survey report for 2022, the primary to secondary transition rate has declined from 91% in 2020 to 78.5% in 2021. There is an anticipated admission crisis as an estimated 10,000 secondary schools in Kenya are set to receive 1.2 million candidates who sat the 2021 Kenya Certificate of Primary Education examinations. And so, as a team again, we are asking the following questions. What could be going wrong with the implementation of the 100% transition rate? Is the mop-up policy working? And how does it address issues of poverty in a vast majority of households that hinder the parents from sending their children to school? While at it, we also need to ask ourselves, how sustainable is the mop-up exercise?
Another issue pointed out by the Regional Education Learning Initiative is that it seemed secondary school education was a letdown to a number of learners who do not attain the minimum grade that would allow them be admitted to universities.
485,686 students, which is 60%, scored grade D+ and below. Of this, 46,159, which is about 5.5% of the learners, scored a grade of E. The future of these students remains uncertain, given the poor quality and inadequacy of spaces in the vocational training.
The school that a student attends greatly impacts their performance at KCSE level. In other words, the schools that perform well just seem to continue performing well.
Despite the government investing heavily on ensuring they secure the integrity of national examinations, cases of irregularities have been on the rise.
During the KCSE examination 2021, there were 441 known cases of examination irregularities. This is an increase from 2020 cases of 287.
All of us who are parents always have this attitude, for instance, that that student needs to get a very good grade. And what happens? It is the parent that sometimes then funds the papers or sends out money to get papers that their young people begin to look at. And they buy some of these examination papers from unscrupulous people who may not also have good intentions. So despite that effort that is put at the national level and at the county level, we also need to bring the parents on board so that the parents can be able to have that change of attitude.
Secondary education remains critical in the career paths that Kenyans take, and not performing well in secondary school has great ramifications for their future. However, a recent report by Usawa Agenda notes that the grade a learner obtains in their KCSE examinations is not entirely dependent on their ability and effort, and that many factors impact the grade, most of them outside the learner's control. Sharon Baranga, TV 47.